Welcome to the 2020 Deeps Position Clinic as part of your camp. Fortunately, we can't do this in person, but hopefully you can get just as much out of it in this virtual presentation as if you could if we were still here. So hopefully you'll enjoy this. But here's the itinerary. We're going to do it says new kickoff mechanics. Really, it's just new coverage. We've changed the coverage areas that we're going to do. We're going to look at some uncommon kickoff plays. We're going to look at our scrimmage kick coverage. And then we're going to look at some key coverage. So let's take a look at the new coverage areas. So this will be in your manual. And this is going to be true for both crew of 6 and crew of 7. But as you can see, it's basically been split into zones. So you're no longer going to be looking at the K players. Traditionally it was 2 and 3 for the Devs and 4 and 5 for the back judge and umpire. I'm not doing that anymore. Now we're going to zone coverage. And as you can see, for the Deeps, it's pretty much going to be split all the way down to about the 30 to 25. And you're going to split it, the field kind of in 4 verticals with the umpire. Now, practically, like the field judge and the back judge, you're probably going to overlap in some areas, and that's okay. Same thing in the side judge and the umpire. But you can see field judge, side judge is going to be about halfway between the numbers and the hashes all the way to the sideline. And the back judge, you're going to get press box side kind of halfway between the numbers and the hashes and straight down the middle of the field. And again, a lot of these areas will probably overlap, but that's okay, because where they overlap is traditionally going to be where there's going to be a lot of action going on. Now, these zones, they are susceptible to change. So if you have like a kick in the corner, then you may change your coverage just a wee bit. So if it goes opposite the press box side in the corner, about the 10-yard line, side judge, you're probably going to narrow yours a little bit, maybe just between the numbers and the hashes, or numbers and the sideline. And field judge, back judge, you guys may widen it out a little bit. So these are adjustable, but this is a basic kick, pretty much in the middle of the field, deep. Is going to be these zones of coverage. So let's look at one just in real time. So let's say we are press box side, but your field judge, your back judge, once this ball is kicked, field judge, you're going to have about right there with the Farm Bureau all the way to the sideline and on down to the 30. It's going to be your area. Back judge, you're going to come in. Back judge and umpire, you're still going to kind of button hook in. And back judge, you're going to take about halfway between the field to about the Farm Bureau, that area, all the way down to the 30 or 25. Same thing over here, side judge. You're going to take about right here, halfway between the numbers and the hashes to the sideline, down to 25 or 30. And what this does, it allows us to have more eyes on more coverage. So for instance, we got a couple of actions going on right here. If we're in these new zones of coverage, your field judge is going to be looking at this. Back judge, you're kind of going to be watching all of this. And it just kind of gives us a better view. That way it frees up the line judge, and he can kind of watch action going on in here. So the line judge, he would have hashes to the sideline. The referee's going to have the middle of the field. And headline judge over here will have hashes to the sidelines on that side. So it just kind of frees up. Gives us a little more eyes on a wider area. That way, we have eyes on here. And the umpire may be looking over here, helping with that. So it just gives us a little better coverage. As you can see, he was coming in. He's got an eye on this. Make sure all that stays clean. So it just gives us better coverage overall. Alright, let's look at some unusual kickoff plays. I'm going to slow this one down for you to really see it, but it's going to be this is a free kick, and it's going to be caught in the air by K, who then goes out of bounds. So K thinks they have the ball, or he went out of bounds. But remember, that's not the rule. On a free kick, this is kick catch interference, because the ball has to go 10 yards at least and touch the ground. And in this case, it just goes to 10 yards. So this is going to be kick catch interference. So rather than K get the ball where it goes out at, R actually has three choices. Because other than this being kick catch interference, it's also first touching by K. So R can take the first touching. So they'll take the results or they'll take the ball at the spot of the first touching. They can take the result of the play, or they can accept the 15-yard penalty for KCI. And to take the distance penalty, it's their choice to have the penalty enforced either from the spot of the foul or to have enforced from the previous spot and re-kick. So those are three choices by R. So from a positioning standpoint, deep's a little too close to this action here. When you read the ball is short, it's going to be a short kick. Don't be in such a hurry to move downfield that 10 or 15 yards we tell you to. Kind of shuffle a couple of yards and just kind of get in position and kind of see what happens. Because when you're this close, it's really hard for you to kind of see everything that's going on. So don't move down so far on this one. We want you to be in a position where you can see if it's muffed, but don't be so close to the play that you can't see what's happening. Alright, this is a play from the state final, so we're in a crew of 7. Alright, so the discussion on this play on whether this is considered a kick out of bounds. And there's even some arguments some are making that this should be illegal participation, but it's neither one of those. The correct rule in here is this is just R's ball right there about the 8 or 9. So remember, if R touches the ball in play, or touches the ball while it's in the field of play, then it's not a kick out of bounds. So he touches the ball here when he's still got his feet on the ground in bounds. Then he just recovers it. So this is just R's ball where it is, which is what the crew said. R's ball at 8 or 9. And this is one you don't really want to overthink this too much. This is one of those where it just is what it appears to be. Now, one thing I will say, let's make sure this coach, this is not just a little out of the box. This is way out of the box. Let's keep these coaches in the box. Here you can have an end zone shot of it. You can see when he touches the ball, he's still in bounds, feet are down. And then he just kind of lands out. But this is what it is. This is what it looks like. Don't overthink this. This is just R's ball right there at the 8 or 9. Another wonky one. Now it is legal for R to take this, even though it hasn't gone 10 yards. R can take that. So the umpire over there, kind of a tough situation. You're just kind of caught. You just do what you can. But back judges, you have the goal line in this scenario. So, and you're the one that has the best chance to get back there, rather than the deep. So, even though we're in expecting onside kick, we're in that onside kick mechanic. Once you read this is going to happen, you just start hustling and make your way to the goal line, because we need you at the goal line on this. I need you to be there ready to roll. All right, we always want to be expecting an onside kick. This is very early in the game. I think this is just right after the first touchdown, the first quarter. Now remember, when we have an onside kick, we treat that cage restraining line like a plane. No part of any K's body can be over that plane before foot hits the ball. And here we got about at least 3, maybe 4 players. Now, the kicker can be over the plane. That's fine. But, he's over. His head's probably over. He may be over. He's definitely over. So we have a lot of players off sides here. And I don't think it was called in this situation. And you see K recovers the ball when it should have been an offsides. And this, when we kill this immediately, when they're offsides, we kill it. All right, I get this question a lot. What if it's not an onside kick, but it's a little pooch kick like this is? Do you still treat that ball as a plane? And I'm just going to say use your judgment on this one. If you think they're trying to kick it short in an effort to get the ball, then treat it as a plane. If it's just a pooch kick because they don't really have a good kicker, then, give a little bit of leniency. But like in this game, both these teams have been doing this onside kick the whole game. So at this point, definitely okay with killing it. Because if they're doing a little short kick like that, especially after they've been doing onside kick after onside kick, and then they do a little pooch kick, if they're over, yeah, kill it. Pop them 5 yards and re-kick. But the typical rule of thumb, if you think they're kicking it short in an effort to get the ball, then we're gonna treat the cage restraining line as a plane. All right, so now let's get to the bulk of what this is going to be. A lot to look at. And scrimmage kicks, they're the most improved upon, because it's one of those things where we can sit here and we can show you what to do and how to do it and tell you what to do. But with scrimmage kicks, especially at back judge, you really got to see it. You got to be in it. You got to do it to really kind of get a feel for it. So it's tough. So before we get into the plays, I do want to talk about one slight change we're going to make in regards to positioning on the back judge. We've been saying 5x5. We're going to change that a little bit and have your starting position be 10 yards back. And then just put yourself at a 90-degree angle where you can see. Now, this is the starting position. As the play goes, then you adjust how you need to. And we'll talk about that when we really look at this play here in a second. But the starting position, we want to be about 10 yards back. And then just put yourself, as far as how wide you are, have yourself at a 90-degree angle where you can see what's going on. And you have a good angle of the ball and whether or not the receiver catches it. This is really good work here by all the deeps. All 3 of them. They just kind of keep that 5 yards. They kind of work back with the kick and the receiver, especially the back judge. You can see how he really works to maintain that buffer. So really good job there. The only thing I would say is, back judge, once the receiver catches it, now he's no longer yours. You're going to look at the blocks and everything going on. So there's no point for you to come up here and get the spot. Spot belongs to the field judge and the side judge. So you just, kind of hang back, let them get the spot. You can come in here and get the ball from the returner. Go ahead and place it on the spot so we can get the new ball and get the game moving. But other than that, really good work by the deeps there. This play is going to be a good job of the deeps really getting to the goal line. It's one of those where the kick drifts a little deeper than you thought it was going to be. But you can see they both do a really good job of getting to the goal line and getting there before the ball gets there. Backpedal if you can, but if it kind of takes a hit on the ground and then just squirts out, you got to turn and run, that's fine too. But in this situation, a good job. They could backpedal and still easily get it. So good job there by the side judge and back judge. It's going to be another example of good job being on the goal line. You can see here they're already on the goal line waiting for it. If the returner is set up at the 10, then we're just going to go ahead and get on the goal line. Or, see, they're outside the 50, that's fine. If they're inside the 50 and you know the kicker's got a leg, you can go ahead and get on the goal line. Especially if the returner's already, if he sets up on the 10, or if you just know the kicker's got a good leg, then you can go ahead and get on the goal line well. But they're here on the goal line, and so they already got it boxed in, and they don't have to move to make the ruling on whether or not that ball crossed the end line or not. Alright, here's another play where the deeps are in a great position at the goal line, and they're already there waiting on the ball to get to them. You see they're there, they're stationary, and then it makes any ruling they make here almost where you can't argue against it. Not that we have the camera angles to see if they're right anyway, but it's hard to argue with them when they're already there. They didn't have to move, they're stationary, they both have a perfect view of it. And when we're in a position like that, it really kind of puts us in a better position to where calls can't get questioned. Because like I said, we're there, we're waiting, we're in perfect position, not even moving. So really, really good work by the deeps there. Alright, this is going to be good coverage on a long return. So rewind it. Well, let's look at the wider angle of it, so we can kind of get a better view of what's going on. So this is good coverage by the deeps. We do miss an illegal blindside block. But that's probably more your wings maybe, or your umpire. Well, your umpire. Wings can't see that. Let's start from the beginning of it. Good job of the back judge trying to move where he can get that inside out look. The only thing I will say, don't throw the beanbag like that. It just when you throw it, it kind of puts you in a position where you may not get an accurate drop on it. So as you're running by, just drop the beanbag where it was, or where you take a mental note of where the ball spot. As you're running by, just drop your beanbag. And then, like I said, deeps, we just trail the play. Field judge, side judge, you got the runner, whichever one side he's on. You're that backside deep, you got the everything in front and around. Back judge, you're just going to come up the middle, trailing the play, and getting all the mess in front and behind. Or probably behind and in the middle. And good job by the wings, you see, already at the goal line. And it is the deep spot all the way up to the 2. So you see the side judge there coming up to get the spot. So great job by them. Great job by the crew overall on that one. So this is a crew of 6, but I just want to talk about a little bit on the ruling here, whether or not this is a muff or a catch and fumble. We need to treat this. Let me go back. Treat whether or not they caught the ball just like you would a scrimmage play catch. So that's how we're going to rule this. So do we have possession and control in order for this to be the end of a kick? If we don't have possession and control, then the kick is not ended. It is not a fielded punt. And here we don't have it. He doesn't. Two hands on the ball. We could call that possession, but it's not control. You got to have both. He does not have control of this ball. It comes out way too quick. He does not make any kind of move with it. So this is not possession and control. So this would be still a kick. So remember, kick is a kick is a kick. This is what we have here. So again, just another screw of 6, but I just want to throw that out there as something to look at, something to think about as you see punts and fielded punts this season. A couple of things to look at on this one. First of all, back judge, we're a wee bit too close here. If we could, we want to try to do a little button hook in where we can get that inside out approach if we can. I understand this one's a little hard because he's kind of right in the middle of the field. So when he comes out, it kind of puts us in a bad position. But when we can, we want to get that inside out approach. So things here, it's going to hit the ground and bounce, and the returner is given a signal with his hands. Now, if we want to get into the rule book, it says any signal by the returner that is not a valid fair catch signal is invalid. So the getaway signal, which is what this essentially is, that's an invalid signal. You'll hear some stuff about above the shoulders or above the waist or something like that. According to the rule book, any signal that's not a valid fair catch, a valid fair catch signal, is invalid. So this would be an invalid fair catch signal. Now, this isn't, flaggable. I don't think we flag this. I think in this situation we just kill it. And let's play it. Just kill the play. There's no need to drop a flag on this. And I know it's tough on the returner because the ball kind of bounces right to him. But, if he's going to give that signal, he can't pick it up and then start running with it. There's an invalid fair catch. So let's just kill the play right there. Oh, my bad. Same one. Alright. Everything looks good right here. Position is good. That's not too deep. He's letting the runner get in front of him. Still had a good position though, so he can see everything. But back judges, we want to stay in between the hashes as we come up the field. I see he does a good job of dropping the beanbag where it was caught, not tossing it. But just back judges, we're going to just try to stay in between the hashes as we come up the field. Remember, we're watching everything around it. Side judges got the runner. There's really no need for us to come outside the hashes as we're coming up the field. So it's not a big no-no. Just one of those small things we can work on a little bit to look a little sharper. It's a good job there by the back judge. Field judge, we just want to stay off the field. Get a little too close here. If for some reason one of these players picks it up and starts running with it, or one of these players decides I'm going to come in and just pick this up, And then, I mean, we're right there. We're too close. So we just want to stay off the field while the ball's live. And then once the K touches it, to down it, then we can come on the field and everything. But we're just gonna stay off the field as much as we can. I hear the back judge. He's got the ball. I mean, we're not saying the others can't come up. So really, this is all on the back judge. Field judge, side judge, don't be in too much of a hurry to come running up. Kind of stay back a little bit because you want to keep a wide angle to watch players all around it. So don't be in too much of a hurry to come running up to get this ball. Just kind of stay back a little bit. Let the back judge run up there because he's ultimately got the ball. The rest, the field judge, side judge, we'll just kind of hang in the back and make our way up the field slowly. This is a good example. Let's see the back judge is coming up, and then you just see the field judge just slowly making his way up. See the top of his head right there. He's just slowly making his way up. Same thing with the side judge. All right, we just don't want to be in too much of a hurry. And in this situation, it is, since it's still a kick, back judge, you're going to be the one to down it. No, good job pointing it. We always want to get a good read on the ball. Watch it come off that punter's foot. Have a really good read on it. That way, we're not overrunning goal lines, or we just have a really good idea of where it goes out. I think this play, it looks like we may lose it a little bit. We're not at the goal line. Doesn't look like we're at the goal line when it crosses. So we just want to make sure we have a really good read. And we can see these balls. Just kind of get it off the punter's foot and then take a read of it from there. Alright, let's look at another one. So the ball is going to be caught at the 47. Again, we don't want to throw the beanbag like that. It comes off as a little lazy looking. So it's not accurate. And here we also have our field judge and our side judges. They look a little unsure about what the spot is. So obviously we want to give him forward progress right here. So really this needs to be, the spot really should be the 47 because he's hit as soon as he catches it. So we would give him the 47. We want to give him every yard they deserve. Which, again, this is why in this instance, a good beanbag placement is important. So the back judge there, you just take a mental note of where the ball was caught. Then if you see your field judge and side judge looking unsure, you can just hop on the radio and tell them, hey, I got the 47, I got the 47. But we look unsure there. So let's make sure we always look like we're on the same page. Alright, here's a field goal mechanic. So we are at the 25, it looks like. So we got it blocked. You can see the Deeps do a good job of coming out at an angle. First to the goal line. Then once you realize it's going to be returned, we're just in normal reverse mechanics at this point. So the Deeps will have the spot. And side judges. So I know it's uncomfortable territory for us in there. But once we get inside, we're gonna stay inside. Really, like a back judge on a scrimmage kick, we want to stay pretty much in between the hashes. Or if we do go outside the hashes, we won't go out much. So once you're inside, you're gonna stay inside. I want you to be about right here and just helping on this backside mess. But everyone else, good job. Deeps, like I said, coming out at an angle. And then because we're outside the 25, so you got the goal line. So then once you realize it's a return, was normal reverse mechanics. So good job, the field judge coming up and getting the spot. So good job on a fake field goal, or blocked field goal, my bad, right there. Our last scrimmage kick we're going to look at. Remember what we said a few plays ago, watch the ball come off the punter's foot, see where it's going to go, kind of get a feel for the trajectory angle of it. Because we don't want this to happen, where we're all over here and the ball drops over here. It makes it look like we don't know where the ball is. It makes it look like we got fooled too. So we want to keep an eye on that returner, but the ball is our main importance right here. So the back judge, the ball is yours. Like I said, obviously we want eyes on this returner to make sure he's not unnecessarily roughed or cheap shot or anything like that. But let's also know where the ball is going. So have a good idea. Just watch it come off the punter's foot. Just peek at the punter, see where the ball is coming, and adjust based on that trajectory. Okay, so now we're going to talk about keys and coverage on regular scrimmage plays. Because I think we're still missing a lot of our keys. Who should be watching who? So we're going to go over some of that. Alright, now there's pre-snap. We're going to look at who our keys are going to be. So this is your field judge. The back judge will be here. The outside receiver is going to stay your field judge. The inside receiver, the second one, the first one inside, so the second receiver, he is going to be the line judges. And the back judge is going to have this third receiver. Now remember, that is your initial key. Keys can change as they run their routes. If we're inside the red zone, remember, we're going to hang on to our key a little bit longer than we normally would. But initially, we're going to have back judge, line judge, field judge. Alright, so the back judge's key went straight inside. So as he moves over, he's going to become the wings, the headline judge's key. And then as the routes go and the zones go, the second receiver, remember he's the second guy, he comes into the back judge's zone, and he is the threat. So we officiate the threats. So you have the quarterback looking this way. So if this back judge's key, he's no longer a threat. These two are the threats. So field judge, you're going to stay this guy. Back judge, you got this. You now have what was the second receiver. So that contact there, that should be the back judge's ruling. A problem we run into a lot is quick fouls like that happen during pretty much like the transition of the transitioning of the key coverage. So that's where a lot of this stuff happens. That's why having that back judge is so helpful, especially over a crew of 6. So we got some contact there. Ball's not in the air, so it can't be defensive pass interference. So the question would be, is it a hold? I don't think you really have much of anything unless he grabbed them right there and restricted them. It's hard to tell from the video. But by now, when he gets knocked down, QB's already decided to take off and run. So it's a hard sell there for that to be a hold. And then, of course, the deep receiver's wide open. But, that's a hard sell to be a hold. Quarterback's really, I don't think he's ever looking at him. And the contact does seem incidental right there. Now, unless there was some grabbing and restricting right there, but it's hard to tell in the video. So, remember, key thing to take out of this is your key coverage, knowing when to transition and when not to. Alright, so let's look at our keys again on this one. Similar setup. He's going to be the field judge. You have the outside receiver, the line judge, and back judge. So what are we going to do here? The back judge's key, he now kind of comes out to be a receiver. So what we're going to do is the receiver becomes the wings, and the back judge, you're watching the blocking and the holding going on here. Field judge, you're watching the blocking and holding on your key. But back judge, you're going to transition and watch for blocking or holding on this key. So let's ask ourselves, is that a hold right here? I don't think it is. I mean, there's no grab there. He just kind of shoves him in the shoulder. So that would be a good no call. And the rest of the play plays out. So there's your takeaway from this. Is when you have these three out like this, at back judge, if your key stays behind the line, becomes a receiver, then you're going to pick up this second receiver for the hold and see if blocking, the holding, and all that. All right, on this play again, let's look at our keys. So pre-snap, he is going to be your side judge, headline judge, back judge. We're going to treat him as a receiver, not so much him. Line judge, you would actually look over and take this one. So there's your back judge key, that's your field judge key. Alright, we're going to have the same play as before. The inside receiver is going to back out. So back judge, you're going to be looking at the holding and the blocking here. Side judge, you're going to be watching that holding, blocking. And again, I think right here, it's a good no call on holding. I think he just shoves them, doesn't grab him, restrict them. Let's look at the one here, side judge, that you'll be looking at. Remember on holding, we always look at feet. What are the feet doing? That's our first look. If the feet are between the defender and the ball carrier, then our threshold for holding is a lot higher. But then what happens if the feet get beat, or if he's trying to get away and he can't? That's also what we want to look at. And then we're also looking at point of attack. Can he reasonably get to him? So this one I have to leave up to the side judge, because a lot of it, to me on this, looks like what that receiver is doing with that hand. If he's got a hold of his jersey right there, as the defender's trying to get away, then we got a strong case for a hold. But only the side judge can see that. He's got a good angle at it. And by now he's probably transitioned to the pylon, watching the goal line. Also look at the side judge's positioning. This is great positioning. Look how far off the goal line he is as he's about to have a play on the goal line. That's where we want you to be. So great job. He's looking in. Again, as far as the hold goes on the outside receiver, we're gonna have to give it to him, because he or side judge, because only he can see what that right hand is doing. I think that has a lot to do with whether or not you would have a hold on this play. Alright, again, let's look at keys. You have your field judge, line judge. So here we really want it to be, as far as the back judge goes, in order to consider him a third receiver, it depends whether or not he's outside the tackle. And remember, for keys, it is a screenshot of the formation when the ball is snapped. So it looks like he's inside the tackle. So really, as field judge, you're kind of keeping a peek on both of these and kind of see what he does. And his first move, how he declares himself, is going to determine whether or not that's going to be your key as a back judge. What he does. So he's coming out like that. So maybe you take a peek at him and see what happens. But now as a back judge, you have this second receiver kind of coming in on your territory, which is your zone, which is between the hashes. So you're pretty much immediately going to pick up on him. And he now is going to become your key. He's going to be your field judge key. So we're going to have a play on the sideline. So this is where our line judge and our field judge are really going to communicate with each other. Now remember, we look at the feet first, because if the feet aren't in, then it doesn't matter whether he caught the ball, bobbled the ball, survived the ground. None of that matters if the feet aren't good. So we're going to look at the feet first. And remember, we moved away from the whole, if his back's to me, I got the feet. If he's facing me, I have the ball. We moved away from that a few years ago. So now the first thing we're going to look at are the feet. And the video's not going to be good enough for us to determine, whether he's in or out. We really just want to look at the mechanics on this. So this would just be, it could be a simple, quick look at the wing and the deep, just looking at each other, kind of acknowledging a nod or a yes, maybe a shake of the head. If any one of them have a shake of the head, the feet, then it's incomplete anyway. There's no need for the two to come together. It's just a quick look. If they watch the play, take a quick look at each other, nod or shake their head, and then we can go on. So that's what we talk about when we talk about wing and deep mechanics working together on the sideline. If you attended camp last year, we spent a lot of time in our gym sessions or field sessions talking about that. And this is that in practice. So good job there by the wing and the deep. But again, let's look at our keys. Field judge, he's your first inside receiver, so he's going to be your line judge, and this one is going to be the back judge. Remember, these are just your initial keys, so once they run their routes, it could all change. So this is a good call for offensive pass interference. I think this is pretty textbook. He just runs right at him. He's not trying to run a route. That's pretty obvious. He's just going to screen him out. So this is a good call for OPI. And this happening this quickly, I could definitely see the wing making the call on this. It's still his key initially. And he'll probably peek inside the tackle to see what goes on there. But, and back judge, of course, if you see it, you got a wide angle there, so you can probably see this happening and developing. Plus, there's no one on that third receiver. So he's not really a threat. So I could definitely see a case where the back judge would pick this up. If he's not foreseeing this as a threat, he may peek in and get a look at that. So we could potentially have 2 flags on this play. But it is a good call for offensive pass interference. That's pretty textbook screening right there. And good job of the officials for picking it up. I think the wing picked it up. That was his initial key, so good job there. Don't know if you see... And this is what I point out, we saw this a good bit too when we were doing our early rounds of evaluations. Back judges, you're always in the middle of the field. Even if the team, the offensive start on this hash or this hash, we're always going to be in the middle of the field because it puts us in the middle of our zone of coverage. And we got everything in between the hashes. So being in the middle of the field puts us in the middle of that zone. So we can see everything at peripheral vision on each side. If we're skewed to one side, it really kind of cuts off our peripheral vision all the way to the edges of our zone. So we're in the middle, puts us right in the middle of our zone of coverage, and we can see everything better. You have a better view of everything. Just want to point that out. And you can't really see the OPI, but it was a good call. Wait, I can go back one. So you hear us talk some about read steps as a deep. Take a read step, see what's going on. This is a good example. We watched the field judge right here. Just at the snap, we just want to take 1 or 2 walking steps back. Just kind of get a read of what to play, and then you see it's a run play like that. Then we can just kind of pause, see how the play develops. And your receiver's not really taking you deep, so there's no need to backpedal. It just kind of takes you out of the play. If you just take off backpedaling real fast and you got to run up the middle like this, it takes you out of the play. So, it makes you kind of look like you're not really in the game as much. So this is what we talk about. It's just a good read step. Take 1 or 2 steps backwards, see what the play is, and then you see it's a run play. So you can just kind of pause, get a good look at it, see what happens. Same thing for back judges. Maybe you take off a little bit more. I would probably still just take 1 or 2 steps back, unless you have an inside receiver really coming at you hard. Then go into a full back pedal. But same thing for you guys. Just you see it, just 1 or 2 steps back, kind of see what's going on, where the receivers are taking, what the play's taking you, and then you may just pause, get a look. That way we're not taking off downfield for nothing. This play is going to be an example of great cushioning by the back judge. You hear us talk a lot about cushioning, and that's about perfect. There's nothing you can say bad about that one. He's in perfect positioning. He's got that inside out look, which is great because he can see everything going on right here with the hands. He's in a good position. He's ready to turn and run if he needs to. Everything else, it's pretty perfect right there. This will be another example of good cushioning. So all the deeps, they have a great angle, great cushion. So the back judge, he turned when he needed to. And then they do a good job right there running up. You got mixed colors. Deeps are right there running up to get in the middle of them. This is, again, that's pretty perfect textbook example of what we want. Good job there by that crew. This is a good no call for push off. If he catch, I know they say, and by rule, there's no such thing as uncatchable pass. Even if it were uncatchable pass, this doesn't fall into that anyway. I think this is a good call for a good no call for OPI. There's just not much there. His momentum is going to take him away anyway. He doesn't really gain any kind of separation by using his arm right there. Great positioning by this field judge. He's at the goal line in case he's got to make a play on that. He's got plenty of distance between himself and the field. Great angle. Everything. So let's talk about just for a minute what happens if he catches this pass. So he jumps from inbounds. Let's just say he catches it. And he lands right there. There's still going to be an incomplete pass. Because he has to land at least 1 foot inbounds first. Like if this right foot had landed inbounds and he had the ball, then we got to catch. But if he catches this ball and lands where he lands right here, he still got a no catch. Alright, so that's going to be the positioning clinic. Thank you for hanging around. Thank you for watching this. Hope you gained a lot out of it. We tried to keep it short enough to where we wouldn't lose your attention span, but long enough where you can gain everything you need to know. Remember, if you have any questions, you can always email us. And, good luck on your quiz. It's not going to be hard. Just, concentrate on it a little bit. And good luck. And good luck in the season.